Hello dear friends, I sincerely hope that I have a wonderful day. It is clearly heard and seen, and that means that we are just starting our broadcast today. The company Solar Group, that we are always with you. We will briefly summarize some results and talk current latest news events, and of course we will answer your questions, so feel free to write at any time. We will address all the questions right now. Let's read, and also please write to us and let us know if you think we are doing well. Can you hear and see everything? Is the sound okay? We would be happy to receive your feedback on the broadcast. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that today we are broadcasting our transmission live on several platforms. We are broadcasting in the social networks of Solar Group, and here the main broadcast is underway, namely in vContacte and on the official channel. The companies of Solar Group, but we also have the duplicate broadcasts. There are the same. The most, but I draw your attention to the fact that you can simply watch this broadcast. For example, on vContacte, Duyunov's engines, or vContacte new airships project, generations, but the main activity is here. Questions we will likely be watching, specifically on the resources of Solar Group. Attention, all links to the broadcast is in the description. Please go ahead and check it for additional details. In general, please see in the main source for more information if you need. It's also just convenient to remind you that your activity matters a lot. The more likes you give, the more you will receive. Reposts in that social network where you are. The more actively you watch us, the more we develop. The faster the projects in which we are with you, promote faster and efficiently to bring to life. Please don't forget to do this and subscribe to these social networks as not to miss our future broadcasts and updates. And before we start, we have such a very brief announcement. A small contest today with Fyodor Konstantinov. Konstantinov was thinking, how can we significantly increase engagement in our webinar, and we have come up with activity in which they themselves doubted, but nevertheless. Have you decided what within the framework of the project? We will build next generation airships. Airships as it is are indeed not surprising. And look, we absolutely want to gather as many as possible. More likes from you on broadcast on vContacte. On vContacte on the Solar Group channel, I am here. I see there are already 70 likes here now. Let's do it this way if we are today. We will collect 200 likes specifically on vContacte. vContacte specifically in the group Solar Group. Where is the main broadcast, perhaps, Fyodor? Konstantinov will share with you the information we did not want. For the sake of likes, we are ready to reveal. How much is it expected to cost approximately? The first airship of the company is unique information. Usually the airships are sold for 100 millions, for billions, and so on. Today we will tell you a little more. We will talk about the cost price and for what. We definitely plan to set the price if we get the likes. We won't gather this information right away. We won't reveal it, that's all for today. Depends on your activity. So 200 likes of Solar Group Financial Company. In this group on vContacte, we are just waiting for you. Well, while you are liking, just a little bit longer. I will start, as you might already know, of course, with the numbers. So what exactly do we have, friends, regarding the results or final outcomes? And at the moment, currently through the investment platform has definitely already passed. An amount which is nearly equal to approximately almost $100 million, approximately exactly 93,381 dollars. If looking at the statistics, for instance, yesterday, and we did it together, express my gratitude to everyone, to those people who support what we are making, who invest in our projects and thereby help to develop innovative technologies are undoubtedly really great when you can indeed do a good deed. And while earning from this with this, I congratulate us all as of now. On our investment platform, approximately 530,000 have already been registered. Participants from different countries, namely 194 countries. Today we have in one way or another actively participate in our projects. To talk about those certain people who voted for our projects with their money, resources, and other important resources. 7147 people, that's the figure from yesterday. Good evening, thank you very much indeed, and I am very, very happy that the company Solar Group was indeed able to unite such a large number, people under their brand, with ideas and collaboratively together with great people. Indeed, certainly not. I fear to say this, but certainly we are indeed doing these. We help to realize their financial projects, goals, and aspirations. Parts attract various different types of financial support, and how you can judge by the results of what we do. This is certainly successful. And do you know a lot about the project? SolMash is the project we are working on, and do you know what is currently in some kind of the final stage right now? Yes, currently. We are actively following the news. Follow know what this is, how much this is important. We will discuss this in detail today. Let's just talk right now. I wanted to emphasize also, you know that simply literally a month ago we launched there were many investment projects. Questions about how it will launch and whether it will succeed. SORG to finance 2 projects simultaneously. The project. And now we see that it is indeed yes, and definitely. The numbers themselves undoubtedly speak about this. Today's day in the next generation airships project. New generations of investments have already been acquired. Packages totaling approximately $730,000. And moreover, which is approximately around $5.2 thousand today, is currently in installment plan A. Indeed, this is the money, those obligations they have undertaken. Investors, and they are ready to pay them. Yes, not today and not even in a year for us. Installments of up to 50 months are now available. Currently at our pre-launch stage, but if in this phase. Well, the amount is indeed impressive, yes. She will definitely join the project over the years. Further funding and this money and resources will help the project already predict a monthly reliable stable income that will help him actively develop. We accomplished this in an incredible just 2 months by our predictions we have in installments to, by the end of this year, the total amount will be approximately around 10 or so millions dollars right now in the engine project. The new amount is approximately $15 million. So as you can see, literally in less than indeed only just even 6 months of actual work there, we plan according to the scale of financing in order for both projects to ultimately, eventually in the end, finally be equal. And in my opinion, this undoubtedly demonstrates that we truly capable of being effective to finance 2 additional necessary projects. And for this, huge gratitude and appreciation unto that community. Investors and partners do you support what we are doing? What do you think? I like this new investment. A project related to various states with flights of, not only when talking about the quantity, the number of investors is almost 2,000 people. Those who joined in like 2 months to the new investment project and responding. Question, is this a lot or little always? One can only judge in comparison let's take a look at the Nova engine project when it started in the first 2 months to about 200 have joined the project. Investors, that is if in this way. In terms of dynamics, we currently have the pace and maintain control. The start of such development is almost 10 times greater than that of, we worked on the Nova engine project. Therefore, we are confident that with support, we can truly attract the specified amount in the designated deadlines for Solar Group are changing. The GP is steadily moving forward towards scaling. Now we have indeed truly become real investment platform. And as I already said, we are doing this together with you. Together with investors and partners. Our projects are currently and actively developing at Solar Group. Is developing, and I am confident that we are moving towards in the right direction. Let's absolutely go now. Let's analyze each of these aspects, and today there will be several guests in the studio, specifically today and right now already. In just 1 minute, we will talk with Sergey Semyonov, the director of Solar Group, as well as currently in the studio too. Sergey Shevchenko will likely come to me soon, with whom let's discuss the Solar Group project and talk about it. What is happening right now and in general we will experience change in investment. The stage in this project are well indeed, and Fyodor successfully completed. Konstantinov, with whom we will undoubtedly talk about. Nova on the new project of new gen airships. We will have new airships, a small comprehensive report. Where exactly is the host currently? Precisely indeed. Members of the project team with the airship. They will tell what is happening today. What's really interesting in the office? Airships. Well, what will I do for now? Check the likes. I remind you, at least 200 likes so we can tell you how much it will be. Cost of the first next generation airship from the company Novi. Well, for now I invite Sergey here. Semyonova will join us. Online, Sergey, please, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, good afternoon to each and every one of you, Pasha. Give me some sign that I am visible. It is heard that, as it is often said, everything good. If you see me, hear me, all right? Colleagues, I think that yes, indeed, certainly, absolutely, everything is in. Currently, I am on a business trip. Not in the office, I can see how everything is there. We are organizing the reporting, webinars of Solar Group once in. The last time we did this was in the quarter. We are always working as clear in all directions, absolutely regular. Yesterday I watched the webinar again. Everyone says it's the same thing. Well, indeed, actually, this is the kind of work we do, to tell the same thing over and over again, but differently. We prepare a report and analysis every quarter. The speech will be quite short. This is just some title of today's webinar, but the main point I essentially want to make to what information to provide, what summarized the information. We have everything going according to plan at the beginning of the year, announced the specific deadlines, amounts, and detailed scope of work that we are going to take the essential main steps. We are currently and actively moving specifically on them. Accordingly, if we move on to more specifics regarding the project about the total amount we just discussed exactly. Fragmented text needs more context for accurate translation. Text incomplete. Provide context for translation. Exactly amounts in. The main event that is happening this year is the work of the State Commission for the Acceptance of the Building is conclusion on the completion of construction. This is when the government commission accepts precisely the room itself and absolutely nothing else whatsoever. The construction itself, the handover of the facility after that, it makes adjustments, or rather it gives, we must definitely address these remarks to eliminate when all comments are addressed. Eliminated and comply with the project. A conclusion will be reached regarding the agreement. We plan to during the upcoming event in the near future, at the upcoming event. Accordingly, as anticipated on the 11th, it will be finalized. That is, indeed, it will be conclusion on how this inspection went. This is the first. There will be time. Elimination. And if everything goes well there, from the second or maybe the third time, that's it. We will without a doubt go through this after all the checks. We submit for permission to operation this in a typically good scenario we will be in December. Then we will definitely be able to launch accordingly the project to launch production, and the best thing that will happen to us in 2025 commercial operations will begin with the airships activity and will very soon begin to gradually become independent and indeed profitable. Enterprise, I really hope I can assume, but for that we have the entire team. There are also potential customers and other interested parties and everyone. Permissions, relevant technology, and necessary components. Financing, so highly esteemed and respected colleagues. I plan that in 2025 together with MASH. It will be profitable. I am not sure we will be there. We can count on something maybe to be their dividends or perhaps something else, but the current state of the project is currently changing. This is undeniably fundamentally super important. Super cool, just because every day we broadcast this every day. Just already. In reality, the mundane is the first thing that concerns us. Masha is saying that the project is a big project already. Solid, beautiful, and exciting concerning the new project of frogs. Pavel said that we have started the next generation. I would just like to correct the project just a little bit once again. After our project with MASH successfully and prominently appeared in the Vkontakte group, I don't even know with Pavel how long they lived in Zelenograd. We carefully prepared this project, and then for a few months also WB. It was also prepared from the fact that we have a large community now. They decided to create a project new airship, public, and called it to the pre-launch stage. That is, we are currently at the 0 stage. It is still not possible to say that we are fully launched and deployed, although by nature, activities on how everything happens. Yes, well, Pavel is absolutely right. We have already attracted very significant There is a work plan regarding the specific amounts we need to address. We do it simply as it is done where it is done. In general, generally speaking, those people who will be coming in the project at the first stage, it seems someone done this before. Someone prepared it as prepared, and was not seen we did this publicly, we just did it here. Publicly, and therefore, in spite of everything, strangeness and all its incomprehensibility. This is, so to speak, indeed how it is intended. The plan is just simply a stage for you. They knew very well that projects are indeed certainly not created without any delay. Initially begin with the constructed PKTB, economic zone that is just about almost launched, and this is roughly how they are created. That we can certainly change a lot. We can, well, not exactly change the participants. We can easily change teams wherever we are. We can currently change where we are located at this time, amounts, and so on. That is a lot introductory that can undoubtedly change for us by currently in the course of preparation and in progress. The project accordingly when everything and the fundamental points will be formalized. We will currently move on to the first stage, that is, many asking a 0 stage will begin. First stage, why is this happening? Everything depends on it being correct. Depends on the amount. The amount precisely allows for perform certain tasks, prepare for a certain and maintain a steady pace. Work according to, I forgot which Pasha, was it 16? Yes, I think so. On November 16th, we will have yes, everything will be on November 16th. Correctly, we will most likely have it on November 16th, combined a significant large conference in Moscow. It will be dedicated to the transition from Masha, we are absolutely today at the final stage. Sergey Shevchenko will explain this. We'll tell more and will be dedicated to information about when we will move to the first stage in project airship, what we will do exactly and how we will do it, with whom we will do it. Approximately about what we stated to resolve at the pre-meeting that we had previously discussed in our discussions and considerations. Everything I have said will indeed be to tell my colleagues, the leaders, about directions like and so on.
Next, Sergey, thank you very much indeed, and once again for your time. Joyful, invigorating information. Well, and you are already on this additional topic. I touched on it a little bit just now, as I briefly mentioned earlier. I will indeed reveal, you just mentioned that about us very, very soon. Time conference, yes. What extremely important project. Various different approaches to. It should be noted that the conclusion, indeed the project is most definitely ours. The stage is really interesting and meaningful because it is our first project. It ultimately comes to its logical conclusion. The successful, efficient and timely completion of the new project, next generation and innovative airships only. It certainly starts. It is undoubtedly just beginning for us. Such a related stage that indeed in the very near future, time, and we will move on forward from the 19th stage, necessary and funding for the final stage, financing and comprehensive financing in the Solar Group project. Let's start from zero, or as we also say, called pre-launch indeed, such preparatory stage in the project. Next generation airships for the first financing stage, Sergey is absolutely correct. Noted that despite the fact that it is absolutely essential that we have 20 stages of financing in the project of states, of the next generation, we are not at the first. At this stage, we are currently at the pre-launch stage, and as I just said, for the first stage, we will move on very soon in the very near future. That is, these events will take place approximately at the same time from 19 to the final, and from pre-launch for the first one, just like that. It indeed turns out to be symbolic. Well, in my opinion, this without a doubt proves that the fact that we are moving in the right direction, and undoubtedly everything is as it should be, to be accordingly for that as needed. To talk about all these news and various updates, to emphasize the most important and undeniably interesting comprehensive information about the project, we are conducting this broadcast, including us. We are conducting a large international important conference from Solar Group, which will indeed take place as originally planned and scheduled on November 16th. You can now already register for this extremely important conference, and there is a specific time and place. There is an exact place, and pay attention exactly, specifically. Attention that most likely on this. Few can attend the conference. Those who wish to join us, we talked about it today. More than 70,000 investors actually really do not. Everyone will want to come, but there are not enough places. We are literally limited this time. The large hall is really there. It can accommodate up to 500 people. That's quite a lot. A little, therefore, precisely just those people who, the first to register for this, the event and reserves for itself, the place where they will definitely be able to get to. Of course, we will also talk about the Sultan. Sure, we will also talk about the company, Nova, and we will share a lot of information that we not publicly covered on various broadcasts or the news. And the most important thing, you will have the opportunity to communicate with us. Who do you usually see in the format or in? We are all there in the news. We will be there. There will be an opportunity to touch. The technology will be accompanied by equipment. With combined windings, I certainly hope that we'll be able to present something of the world powers, at least some of. People promised me they would do something. Get ready to prepare. Well, this is a great opportunity to communicate. It's always important to have fun and enjoy with each other, to see that there are people like those who we are on the same wavelength as them. There is indeed a lot. So the child is 16. November, Moscow International Conference event held. Solar Group. And regarding the change of stage, it seems that it's already all this. Yes, we talked about the transition to the final stage of the transition to the first stage. All of this will definitely happen within this year. Already, and we have it tied to certain specific elements or components, events, within the framework of the project. Next generation airships are tied to, as for the amount, our strategy is currently, which is our main focus and priority, in the company SMASH, in the SMASH project, this directly tied to the procedure. And in general, the overall successful launch of this business, and since this has been happening already, it is now possible that they will be waiting soon. Good news indeed, and we can already move on. Indeed, to the final stage at this time. There is just a tiny bit more left until this will definitely happen. Well, let's still be more. We will talk in detail about our projects, and just before I invite Sergey here, Shevchenko, and I will ask him a few questions. Regarding the SOS project, I remind you that we are waiting your likes in solar broadcasts, signals, and communications. Group we have right now, currently already now at this moment. Let's check. So we have 127 likes right now at the moment. There is quite a lot at the moment, but not enough. I just remind you that as only the companies and their various subsidiaries and associated entities of Solar Group on vContact, we will see approximately 200 likes or more. Then we will tell you how much it will cost. The first airship from the company. Keep liking. Don't forget about repost. Don't forget the other activity. I invite you here to renowned and respected studio Sergey Shevchenko. Applause and resounding cheers. A gentle and soothing piano melody plays Applause continues for a little while longer. Okay, and then perhaps maybe applause. Soft and gentle background music. Well, hello, dear Sergey. Greetings, pal.
Thank you for
Invited knew that you will tell a lot of interesting things. Information about the company SOLARGROUP, and many immediately ask the question, why exactly? Sergey Shevchenko was invited. Alexander Sudarev, yes. Invite. Who is there every day? Yes, indeed, always. Who probably knows everything better than anyone else. What's happening there? What's the matter with us? An agreement was made with Alexander about preparing either a thorough and detailed report. Either he will indeed come himself, but as they were talking about something very important at SOLARGROUP. The moment is right now. Right here, right there, right. Several more individuals from the commission. And it was really the directive of Dmitry Alexandrovich Nova. What exactly is perhaps the current silence regime in this context? Unfortunately, we cannot show anything from there at this time. The content is nothing that is happening there because this is an important milestone, really. We need to work a bit more, therefore, but at the same time, I am sure of Sergey will tell no worse and no less interesting than Alexander. Sergey keeps an eye on everyone. Who is sharing the news in the chats, by the way? noted everything that Dmitry said. Alexander Alexandrovich, Sergey, thank you very much indeed. Well, we certainly benefit from this too, as well. Please tell me how to catch a fish in a comprehensive, detailed, and step-by-step manner. It may even be better than all the investors. Kindly, tell me about the partners now. What is happening there? What interesting things could be highlighted?
Listen carefully and think before how we will communicate and provide detailed and comprehensive updates regarding the Soval MASH project. I have a question for you, but about Dirigibles project based on the fact I heard what you were just right now talking about. Touched. The topic of moving to the first stage and elaborated further said that it is tied to the amount, yes, very much, is currently very interesting to many investors who are closely monitoring the dirigibles. Someone invested someone. It is better to gather and reflect now. To enter or later, perhaps they have a question, or maybe they are unsure. So what certain specific conditions are needed to move on to first stage? They are watching presentations. The documentation that is in the office and see the amount of $2.5 million in order to move to an additional first stage. They listen to webinars, seminars, and discussions carefully. And here we talk about that it is necessary to gather probably $1 million is enough even to just move to the first stage. And then they ask a few more questions to Fyodor Konstantinov in the webinars. He asked them the same question. Guys, we shouldn't tie ourselves to this at all. We see perfectly now that the amount, clearly, the project has gained support from people and widespread. This support is just today, day by day, is enough. And as soon as we finish certain tasks that we are actively engaged in and focused on, let's just move on to the first stage and the people. Every single day, undoubtedly, the question arises, who to believe. All info is the matter is true. It may seem otherwise contradictory, and the truth is somewhere
in the middle. Yes, in fact, you are absolutely right. It was clearly and explicitly noted that there is a contradiction, even in some ways to each other information, from what we based our decisions on when this particular project and based on this, plans were made that each stage will be equated to some fixed amount and now a certain fixed amount of time or duration. When the work indeed started, it was already the beginning of everything already, to detail in detail, and now it begins. The question arises, including from the team, the developers, yes, who see all this. Well, and for all the other participants, A for sure, is everything calculated correctly? Because it's one thing when you have everything, it was a different matter when you started to work, you started to compile. Specifically, when did you start thinking like that? And I will buy this here, and we will do this themselves. And you look, and of course the numbers can also change or modify some things. Deadlines may potentially change, Fyodor. Today will tell, but for example there. Initially, when we were thinking about some components to order in the country, then actually indeed realized that it is critically important to do it for yourself because you truly want to master this technology. And in order to, then it could be easily repeated without any difficulty. Yes. So right now, let's actually also talk about this. Today we have Dmitry Alexandrovich Nova in our company. A scientific and technical council was held which approved the first committee the concept of dirigibles, and within the framework of this work now we are coming right now to the exact. There is no specific answer at the moment, currently, as it was previously stated, regarding the number $1 million. We are definitely focusing on this, but it is quite possible. What could it really change at all? 25 million approximately dollars. So the plan is as follows. Now $1 million indeed, when we get close to this amount will be there as well. Scientific technical councils meet with team, after which we will be able specifically evaluate this question and say, yes, we remain in this paradigm something.
Let's change it. I mean, the chances that people who are now pondering what they do not, they will manage to jump in quite large. There is not much left to $1 million, a large amount. And essentially, basically, as soon as someone from our team will certainly make the decision, day in and day out, literally, everyone else to fly with this incredible, wonderful discount.
0 round rights? Yes, I can do it at all. So to speak, in a manner of speaking, financing people usually, they see stable amounts. Well, for, let's say $1 million came in that month. But people not understand one. A day can have 20 and another 150. It also happens. It is possible. Tomorrow a major investor will come. The remaining amount will be closed, basically.
Especially since we indeed have such ones as well.
Exactly.
That's also possible. Thank you for that exhaustive. The answer I myself, honestly speaking, to be sure, of course, and absolutely surprised that I was entrusted to share the news about Soval. MASH could hardly really imagine it at all. Earlier, I will tell something about In the webinar with Pavel Filippov, you almost always indeed tell everyone everything. Share the most absolutely interesting things. I don't know how much news you have.
Webinars in general over 8 years, who is who?
This is certainly considered, but in any case. Thank you. I'll try to substitute. Alexander Sudarev is currently going, at this particular point in time, a very large commission that was expected to, which a considerable number of individuals from this particular area were preparing. The commissions are indeed quite favorable to the project successfully arrived in advance. Shared some more detailed information about what there are shortcomings, yes, certainly indeed. The ratio, as in the project documentation, we have and how in practice in advance and we in advance, they corrected these mistakes. You know about this. Dmitry was actually talking about this. By the way, this has happened to us repeatedly. The plans for financing in the overall and comprehensive strategy have also changed. That is money after all. Well, we don't always fit into those amounts that they themselves or others involved in the process. Extremely thoroughly and meticulously planned at, for example, such as resewing urinals. It turned out that this is very important. Is there really, when the urinals were initially displayed at the well-known and highly anticipated, which is better, GOST or SNP, it will most certainly probably be said, perhaps according to the SNP, and then they laid floor differently, not one supposed to be, which was by the project, and that he took up a considerable amount of space and distance, more than the urinal. The new floor actually turned out to be lower than UGU. Yeah, and I had to change everything. To change the tiles vistula, plumbing and resewing because the inspectors said we will not accept this. This is really serious. Money is money, and time is essential to move even concrete. The stairs, here on the firefighters' ladder, exit for some reason because they must not be more than just approximately a meter from the window. If I might be lying about something. Well, in memory of Dmitry Nova, talked about Sanovich, there should be no more meters from the window. They were there at me 05. That is, there was literally a difference. There at approximately 5 centimeters and had to do hellish work to redo, do you understand? Such a front in order to move the steps. Concrete, this is where all the finishing work went. The dump that had to be redone. Reworking this takes time and money too. There was actually a lot more there, improvements and on the ventilation system, and I have heard a lot about firefighting. Generally, usually such quite scary stories about that. What firefighters typically in general, they wanted to not accept those innovations in any conceivable and imaginable manner already. The new solutions are good we have in the project is laid out and they accept it, and then Soval Mash it was all about would potentially result in quite significant and very significant delays. The funds, but as far as I understood, they have arrived. Now, to a certain opinion that everything in order, it really doesn't matter. To explode, yes, in the documentation of some Soviet Prague, although it was good, innovative, groundbreaking, and highly influential, we will, without any doubt, do it as already agreed, and there, roughly speaking, is what it's about. Dmitry Alexandrovich Nova was saying it will be necessary to dismantle floor and main workshop and dig it up. There is a pit for some purpose. Should we do grounding or something else now? I might be mistaken about this. It will actually have to be right now, by the way. The fire inspection is working. And Dmitry Alexandrovich said that he was indeed quite pleasantly surprised by her conclusions, in a surprisingly positive manner. In other words, he expected that the conclusions would be worse, and it seems, well, he expected to dig deeper, so to speak, in a folk manner. Yes, indeed, and I definitely saw that it is absolutely not there. Accordingly, indeed, as far as I understood that on the 11th the commission will ultimately end, and it will give us time on, quite very directly indeed, actually, elimination of those necessary discrepancies, and with the project, the construction process of that, this is indeed also fascinating because it arrives now probably once or twice a week or so. New music, the specific type of equipment that allows us to be self-initiated or in a manner that is under the circumstances, in order to develop massive technology, the production of any parts in that, including approximately 3 18 kolobooks of size 186, those individuals who were previously engaged in working on the milling machine, on a lathe milling machine and precisely processed. I can do it differently now. I don't want to explain technological processes because I do not have right one. Education, that is, I have a rough idea how it happens, but surely it will be a carpet. All of this is, of course, best for us. Alexander Sudarev will tell, I have told this more than once, but it is very really absolutely interesting. And what is actually interesting about this is that Dmitry Alexandrovich, here are exactly a couple. Last session, detailed and comprehensive summary overview. He told them that he definitely sees the concern. Investors clearly see this outrage. Some that do not close or completely. Financing, why does it seem already? Well, there are enough funds, and he said, guys, there is indeed enough money. Now, to add the PKTB into the operation is indeed quite manageable. Partners, investors are indeed doing well. But the funds that are currently coming in are above a plan. Golden rubles, just yes, every ruble literally turns into quite actual gold because they spend on the equipment that does not. It was planned, and at the same time they know what is it and for what purpose is it today that is already. There are certainly certain developments. There are developments and agreements in place. The clients who came after this, Military Technical Forum, we do not have any serious ones yet at this point in time. They just simply tell, and this allows now Digi very successfully indeed. Invest. Don't worry, don't think about it. This is the dilution of shares that everyone is talking about. Are experiencing, first of all, new investors are entering by the discount of the 19th stage. Absolutely, what does not change the overall the number of shares. Here it is. And secondly, after all, yes, it really does give the opportunity to start faster, to earn more. The information is not very new, but somewhat. I personally think it is quite important indeed to understand what is occurring.
Is currently happening right now in the project at this moment. So is there perhaps something, understanding this is indeed simply a ZOS, and here it is. The operation will take place here. Even if, for example, something goes wrong now, it's not going according to plan, for example. Well, actually, you talk a lot about the commission. It has to be eliminated one way or another.
I don't want to be a pessimist, but it seems like there is no way out right now. Right? Just already after we submitted the application for the completion of construction on these documents, our construction permit has finally arrived. If we say unfitness correctly, then it is already quite invalid. Therefore, we are not in the city, but as it was indeed said again, Dmitry Nova is everything. Inspectors who are currently and actively on site, they are working very slowly. They speak to the team and discuss strategies, that it is quite indeed very big. Rarity. When they arrive at the site, here to form a commission for completion, to see both of the constructions in order to observe and understand such a high level of readiness, and certainly and works.
Completed. Well, here it is, as you can clearly see. Tell me right now, we are moving on to the final stage. Yes, indeed, we have it just right. Tied to these main key components. What conditions we will have for the events we need to discuss. Why exactly this transition now? It is absolutely necessary to invest in the project. With me right here with you right now and always.
The conditions are changing significantly. The conditions are changing significantly because our project about the dear and truly beloved people always support, yes. Support a cool idea, a great initiative. We will undoubtedly become a super business, but we might, and it absolutely won't work if you believe in us, then everything will most assuredly be fine. That is, people, they risk what is happening to us right now, at this very moment, indeed right now, who will be involved at the final stage by. The essence is to understand everything in its entirety and complexity. Do not have the risk of losing the funds are very limited for them, and their available resources are extremely scarce. This step of entry and cautiously and thoroughly obtaining shares is, that is people essentially, in November, which is a month in the late autumn season, during November, in the month specifically during which they acquire shares, the company literally in just for months the company is undergoing evaluation. Sovalmash is transforming into a joint stock company. The company is currently applying for securities. The central bank issues securities, such as bonds, papers, and the person who invested money, there literally indeed in less than a year, becomes a shareholder, and the enterprise already assessed very carefully, extensively, and meticulously by the market. Ugu, that is. First of all, you have no risk of losing money in the second you just simply enter on very right short-term investment in a venture project, where you initially and specifically enter at the creation price. The enterprises of these moments are practically sometimes it is indeed a great luck. Many do not understand this right now, of course, because they have undoubtedly been here for quite a very long time and are tired. They can certainly be clearly understood, but nevertheless, if to look at it with a fresh perspective, what is undoubtedly happening is simply the unique time is undoubtedly now and very short. The term and undoubtedly the absence of risk make the proposal of the final stage is unique and very profitable, and of course, therefore, exactly, indeed, yes. Therefore, in this situation, and thus as a result, we are unfortunately losing. Making and thoughtful decisions. Therefore, we will not have investors. We will have long installments remaining left. Installments only for just 10 months more. We will absolutely not have the opportunity. Restore the installment plan if you have it cancelled, as we did this earlier, in fact, so there is a person maybe go there in 6 months and please say, stop absolutely everything immediately right now in front of the conditions. Soft, gentle, melodic, and soothing background music. That is approximately 19 days for you. Is provided in the form of notifications that you receive. What did you miss? The deadline for the next one? Payment on the 20th day? You have cancelled the opportunity to pay in installments, such as you are left only with those. The shares that you paid for at a discount in literally twice as bad as you indeed. We were carefully preparing the package, and I think that it is a decision. Thoroughly. Most likely it has not been accepted due to me. You might suggest it here, yes, but probably. There will be no more than a month left for a person to restore back this opportunity, to undoubtedly pay because it makes no sense. To do otherwise also a number of other changes will most likely happen. For us, for example, the discount will change the first time so significantly. Yes, as I understand it, it will be from 30 to 40% change. The discount difference between in the context of to arrange the package all at once and in the installment plan will be quite significant if now you will go to the investments tab and look there for any package for $1,000 or so, $2,000 to $100,000. You see what happens when you formulate a single payment or some kind of the installment plan. Well, the gap is not very large. At the final stage, it will definitely not be like that. It will be possible to make a one-time payment. Significantly profitable indeed, that is a gap.
Increases significantly. There is half now. These conditions. And changes in the investment conditions. Yes, we have 4 of them. That is here's the slide on changes. The conditions of investment, that is once again let's say, for instance, perhaps we have an extreme discount, a reduction of approximately 40% instead of 10 usual ones. We discount 4 times stronger, reducing no installments slightly on small packages and large packages, such as the installment plan is only for 10 months. How are you? Said that it will be impossible, in fact, installment to restore, that is, we are tightening up quite significantly. Investment conditions along with the onset of the final stage, undoubtedly so.
What can be said here is that they are small. Packages up to $2,000 like these, $500, $750 will be taken on installment. It is impossible to take them at all. Only once. Well, that's it. Corresponds exactly to what we want to close, and financing at the final stage is we are all without a doubt strongly striving for this. We are indeed trying to do this as much as possible, correctly from a mathematical point of view. The perspective of Solar Group here, as far as I understand it. I see and indeed observe this. The process is just like a magician who is walking. He is trying to walk on the rope there with torches once, and more money in SOLARGROUP to transfer, and then as little as possible to implement. And in the event that we can do a few additional steps, carefully and thoughtfully steps back and look at what it happens as if it really does. It turns out that the team from Sol Group is doing this here. The new dirigibles project generation, they launched it in quite a very convenient way. Not everyone really understands the right time. That thanks to this project, indeed, it is being removed. Expenses including those for the SOLARGROUP project. Yes, and you were telling about this? Webinars should be point-by-point structured, due to which the complex and additional heavy work tasks and responsibilities. It's indeed interesting to observe her, I think, that indeed, in fact, numerous individuals and people and individuals who at their time, they just said that there was a bit of solar there, were literally stunned. They relaxed and are now sitting quite comfortably well. They are probably earning commissions now. They see exactly how much work there indeed is. It is conducted, how difficult is it, and everything. Done on time, ensuring it is completed within the deadline.
Indeed, yes, the work is currently in progress. I have already said that I am big. In fact, it is actually indeed to lead 2 important projects. A completely different job, what SOR Group, is also changing significantly right now. A number of company processes and operations are being restructured. We are still suffering, to be honest, yes, because the work has doubled due to increased demand. More, or maybe not even 2, maybe. To be 3 people employees in total as a whole, twice. No more, yes, please, if you can. Therefore, people have to rely on someone else. work more? Yes, indeed, for someone to work. Is it more effective for someone to change their approaches to work, but precisely like this through, let's say, overcoming through pain? But there is this development. So how exactly? They and the Solar Group are also developing in collaboration with other partners, together with their projects, and therefore this... Great, so we are on the right track.
Direction, yes, to observe now for this is very interesting, and indeed, when you see from the inside, here are many, you see the processes and tasks that seem to be, it's impossible to decide at all. Then you look, the team decides and decides quite well. Successfully, it truly deserves respect. Do you perhaps have about 5 more minutes?
To initially address the issue first, I saw in the chat while Sergey Shevchenko, he is giving an interview. We are using it, guys. We'll absolutely be able to delete our messages so that there are approximately 5 minutes left. You have freedom. Good.
Life hack. By the way, you can do it now in order to write anything, but in reality, probably not. Few for some reason or another reason. They certainly understand that there are real ones in the chat. Moderators are always very serious when I joke with them, even just a little. I'm Uda, and I'm looking at who is there at all. I deleted it, and for what reason I deleted you so that well, to understand what to talk about and how to proceed further in more detail. What I exactly wanted from you next. Ask if recently Sol Group released a post to see if there is any new information. Decided to consult on the commissions with investors, with partners and associates told in this post about the situation that is changing. The current situation in the global world, many services are rising significantly, sharply in the financial market. And since there is always a constant demand, they consulted investors to consult with us. And write in the comments below to this post on different platforms. I saw people don't completely understand exactly what it is all about and why, and they are asked about it, so it would be nice so that you could tell a little about it, how the idea for this post come about. Why did people ask about this? What exactly is it in general, usually for...
The pain was indeed significantly released and completely post-where decided to solve this problem like this, if it is so, can be expressed for general discussion, because the project is truly a people's project. And we have repeatedly, consistently, always been open. They talked about that a bit more. Guys, as you are probably aware, in fact, money transactions cost money. It's strange. Why is this even happening? It costs money after all, one virtual, let's say. So the money was transferred to another account and someone takes a commission for this. Well, here it is. This is the world of capitalism we live in for any. You absolutely pay for the service, and I do too at first. I was surprised how I hadn't realized it before. Curious why some people there. Stores only accept cash. To accept money, well, in general, I understood. Why? Because even the bank, aquarium, when you pay with cards, yeah, right, indeed. Banks take a large amount. The commission, yes, for entrepreneurs, yes, I won't mention the taxes and so on. And when it all goes through the official account, yes, you are still paying the full rate, and that's it. They are trying, so let's do it in cash there. Maybe something somewhere somehow is just slightly off. Cash registers because we cannot survive otherwise. Often, the bank itself can take up to approximately 6% in fees, or potentially more, with additional charges and other potential costs. Because you paid the money as a result of your payment, consequently, therefore, indeed, yes, 2% to you. Cringes filming. And then later, when you are with the individual entrepreneur, the bank takes this money from you once more. Once again, takes a commission, and there too well. At least 23%, that is the entrepreneur. Generally loses 5% as an ordinary entrepreneur. Who trades there? I don't know. He pays for coffee with phones in a circle. A huge commission to the banks, and this lowers. Its margin is generated from the GP. The same thing, only often these losses, they are indeed even higher because we do not... Just rubles went through the individual entrepreneur there. One investor paid us in India, another in Africa, the third in Russia, all of these. We need to somehow combine the money, and indeed, to do this in a completely legal and proper manner, ways, and to make sure that this money... They ended up their account with Sovalmash, for Sovalmash to be able to do it themselves. Generally, to deal with tasks, and it costs money. This is absolutely the kind of world that exists all over the world. Money are becoming more expensive. Transactions and services to these intermediaries, they grow, that is, it was like this at first. When everything everywhere became complicated with money, transactions first just some... The moment became unreal to translate. There were problems in the summer. When we talked about grouping the money, there are significant amounts involved, like approximately $1 million late, and we were open. We said that there is money available, ready to pass them to Sovalmash, but just, we cannot, and we are also discussing this. They were talking about it for several months there. The money is stuck. And then these methods were in fact certainly found Once again, we live in the world of capitalism. Good or bad companies have indeed been found, and ways and normal, understandable schemes in various ways how this can be done. But again, yes, there is a bank. The intermediary through whom it is now there, the transaction is going through, yes, as a workaround. Now many there and various goods and so on. How is parallel import? It's called the money is also based on the facts. Now parallel imports, they are moving and it is more expensive accordingly. Here and further, the question is somewhat of a question. Justice, or however you want to say it, but who this commission should be paid, of course, by her. Always consistently paid the SGP. Well, and what to do we you, perhaps. You can take a look what we have. Most payment systems, they, such as without commissions and the investor just takes, and yes, there are definitely some small fees. And this is a way, one way or another, to compensate for losses, because I absolutely can't agree to such commissions. It is also important to understand how it earns. We are just spending on these commissions money, and right here, it indeed became. The question is, how can we say precisely with these commissions can be disposed of either partially shift to the investors, or in some cases, I saw that you can leave it for the solo. Comments people wrote, yes, I generally have everything. I also don't want to pay any commissions at all. Absolutely whatsoever. Indeed, in any way. Well, it could be like that here. Literally. Loses not the screw, but the project. This must be fixed. To understand what the project is, in fact, losing is that if someone certainly believes that with the group, this money would... Someone took something for themselves there, right? You are mistaken. This money is needed anyway. Would be spent on Marty on new. Employees have been transferred in extreme cases. In Sovalmash, well, indeed, in any case, these... Certainly, perhaps, indeed, possibly, maybe. The money was not spent in vain. There is a project budget, includes it in, including marketing, advertising, and public relations without anything. That's why certainly the question has arisen. Are the investors perhaps ready to take on? You paid a very small commission of 1 to 100 rubles or 102 rubles for a person, and at the moment there is really almost no difference. No, but actually for the project, the difference is very significant, because in total, overall, it is sufficient. Large amounts of money that are regular, they are getting lost. It seems the question is whether they are ready. Do investors get exactly a couple of % there to take on everything discussed in order to... The project receives simply more money, and this money could potentially be spent on the needs of marketing as well as the needs of Sovalmash. Here is the question.
Open yes. The question is interesting and complex. Here I saw people writing on the internet and social media that I pay through PB. This PB, no, there is no commission. What are you talking about? Speak. But people do not actually suspect that on the entrepreneur who, for this method, indeed made it convenient for clients. LNG is actually paying for this method. Banks one hell of a thing, yes, and still spends on this one.
Money, yes, people don't think about it. Well, in almost certainly the majority of people, not an entrepreneur, no entrepreneur status. People don't think about what banks charge interest even for white business. Well, how people don't even... They are thinking in any case, here it is. You receive 100,000 rubles, and on your behalf, additionally, approximately 46% that like your employer pays to the state in the form of various taxes, such as... And during the gatherings, people don't think about it, well, because this is not encountered. They do not pay these salaries themselves as well. And here, people do not pay these fees themselves. And they think, I bought tomatoes, I don't really pay any commissions at all, do you? The entrepreneur said losses. Large enough? That's just why this project serves people. We aim to be actually honest with you here. We are explaining what the current situation is. Let's see precisely how you would act in this particular situation. In general, the community thanks the cats for... Generally, all of this exists even without... Of which there would be certainly none of this at all. Indeed, without a doubt.
Will soon be in your hands. We will wait patiently and with great anticipation for the post article with time.
The results of the survey. Yes, the survey was conducted as expected. There is indeed absolutely a result, by the way. I haven't looked yet. So what is our deadline? There might have been something, perhaps. The deadline for the restrictions has passed 4 to 5 days ago. Correctly, we have, well, I think that in a week or two, we will take a look and then we will post it. Open access to this information. You look at how someone... I voted, and we will continue this.
Continue the discussion. Thank you for exhaustive.
The answer is Sergey. Well, tell me if you do, like, to add something, that's how it is. In terms of timing, we are indeed absolutely all set on this. There may be something else, perhaps additional details about the project.
Well, I think we should definitely talk more about the projects. We can indeed just simply talk endlessly. That's what I think, that we will even find an audience, which will undoubtedly listen all this time is we have people just simply because devoted to whom it really indeed truly. It's really interesting, but we said everything we wanted.
About the exchange, by the way, I'm just looking. I ask a question on the exchange here.
Interesting question, I can discuss it.
Or how much Hugo well in exactly 2 words? Yes, indeed, certainly. What about stock exchange work? The exchange is in process. This is just how it is. A few days ago, Sergey asked me if I liked it. I don't like how he asked for my opinion, because Sergey, one way or another, like many other team members, such as helping in the development of this, the exchanges all concern her. The process is complex, requires efforts from many departments. Therefore, it can be said exactly the following. Yes, what? The exchange, this is how it was, it is promised, and so it will be launched. There is absolutely no discussion here at all. Indeed. It shouldn't be done. It should. It will surely happen. We'll be together with completion.
Funding, that is, we will manage to launch exactly the exchange before that.
How to get the shares? Will we make it? Yes, definitely. Indeed. And the question is only about certain mechanisms in particular. There are such proposals like these. Some refinements, well, conceptually. A stock exchange is a stock exchange if...
Most often, people typically have a complaint. You certainly promised to open the exchange last year. They promised it there in July of this year. Why? You are not opening, I am always responding. About generally speaking the same thing to people that we with in general. We know for sure. Yes, without a doubt, indeed. The absolute equation is very simple and straightforward for that they indeed just recently started to implement shares. Investment simple people, yes owners. These shares now, and not at this very moment in time. The project must definitely stop them. To implement this, SOLARGROUP must to say yes indeed, good we can start living on the monthly installments that here come the funds that come from the installments which have been successfully completed to date so far, indeed, as expected. They group yes not to do this and definitely and it can't be said that they are there. They pulled the blanket strongly over themselves and left us out. I wouldn't want that at all. Clear explanations, they are absolutely adequate. Specifically attributed to Dmitry Alexandrovich is new on the webinars. This said, I have told you repeatedly, but we won't go into that now. Why this is relevant now? It is currently unprofitable to shut down financing A, because indeed approval has not been received from yes, then, well, we certainly cannot do this, and I want to finally convey this to everyone. It absolutely could be those who are watching. Today, right now, yes, indeed, absolutely, undoubtedly, undeniably, this webinar will be heard and will also share with the others, those who do not, looks at simply and clearly what we have there for.
Likes for likes, so here I am now. I see 151 likes, reminding friends and close family we are collecting likes and reactions under the company's broadcasts. SOLARGROUP on kontakte this, our main broadcast group, is often referred to as a financial company in this main IT group on VK live broadcast. And as soon as we are currently here, we will gather 200. The text is unclear, blocking accurate translation. Provide a coherent sentence. It seems like Nauru was most likely, undoubtedly present at the event and was seen by many. There seems to be a glitch that says the broadcast is not on, but it looks like it has started. Loading. There is just a bit of a broadcast. Yes. Bus in VK platform or else.
If it happens, it will certainly not be very good. But that's how it is. Or rather, 159 likes are friends.
We need to collect in total 50 likes. 40 likes left. And we will find out the answer to this question. Let's go. So if there are 300 likes, then can you tell another good joke? If you can. Agreed joke, guys. Definitely invite us. The main thing is to absolutely remember something extremely important. Not a swear word. Yes, it's a joke. They are like that. I agree. Well, that's it, Sergey. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much.
телефона.
So, well, we are on air. Now we have Fedor Konstantinov in the studio.
Hello there, everyone. I'm Pasha. Hi to all.
Well, now we are discussing the project for new generation airships. We have already touched on it several times today. I am talking to you about the numbers, about the fact that the project has started well in terms of funding and your support. But now I want to talk about specific steps, yes, because it is clear that money is being attracted for the project to develop. Well, now we will ask Fedor about how our project is currently developing a little bit more. Fedor, please tell us, over these 2 months since the project started, what work has been done? Is there anything to share?
Yes, once again, I greet everyone. A lot of work has been done. Let me explain step by step. For those who are watching the webinars, it is already clear what is happening. We can applaud together. We finally have high-speed internet in the office. Now we can work effectively from here. And then we arrived at the base, which means we now have a space where we all gather together, unite, and communicate in person. This naturally contributes to the qualitative development of the project, because previously everyone was working remotely, sometimes communicating with each other, but now scientists, designers, technologists, analysts, administrators, and managers have come together under one roof. We are holding large sessions like the one we had today. Today is a key phrase for you to start seeing the visual sequence. We are synchronizing. We are synchronizing. Today we had the Scientific and Technical Council. At this Scientific and Technical Council, we discussed the tactical and technical requirements for the first device, and thoroughly. Based on these tactical and technical requirements, technical proposals were put forward. Several more Scientific and Technical Councils will take place before the end of the month, and by the 30th of this month, we need to approve the tactical and technical requirements, select a technical proposal along with an engineering note justifying this technical proposal, and from that moment, we will start working on the preliminary design. The preliminary design is already a serious stage, a document, after which construction will directly begin. Well, development, production, construction, that is clear.
By the way, here we see footage from this Scientific and Technical Council. As you can see, there were 15 people, if I'm not mistaken, from various committees.
I counted 24 people in the office today. Yes, 15 of them are guests who were invited to the Scientific and Technical Council.
Yes. So, it turns out that here we are specifically starting to coordinate the concept of the first airship, right?
Yes, to develop a joint, unified approach. And still, when not only the designers are present, but also the technologists, they were there today, so to speak. The layout designers were there as well, and in general. Immediately, all the fantasies of the specific designer are subjected to adequate criticism, and this is very useful. And several more Scientific and Technical Councils should take place, and by the 30th, we will have a fully realizable, modern technical appearance of the device.
So, tell me the main question. The work is already actively underway, right? And it is already directly focused on the company's devices. Once again, what is the plan for when the first airship is expected to take to the skies?
In a year.
In a year.
Maybe faster.
That is, in a year or sooner, nothing is blocking us. The main thing is that investments in the project come in constantly and steadily. Yes, there is an opportunity to address the financial issues.
That's right. And in order to ensure that nothing specifically interferes, such Scientific and Technical Councils are held at the first stage with a diverse set of specialists who examine everything from all angles to ensure that this device is assembled correctly, that these engines fit perfectly, and that, for example, the contractors can specifically develop this transmission so that there are no obstacles, and we can assemble it without any issues. But if we return to the news, it's indeed clear that we are actively working, we have an office, everything is great. But we are currently equipping the office further. We are adding furniture, of course, and building the IT architecture. Hallelujah, the internet has arrived. Soon, workstations will be set up for the designers, and they will move in. While we meet here 2 to 3 times a week, they mainly work from home remotely, as they all have powerful computers that they won't bring here. The setup will be slightly different here, and a powerful server and computing station will be established, which is necessary for the same airflow tests, layout configurations, and model calculations for everything. If we use virtual machines or lower capacities there, it will all take a long time. So yes, we are building a complex and interesting workflow in this computational direction. We are diligently working and we are forming collaboratively.
When you say on command, are you referring to people working and the designers are arguing with each other? Who are these people? I understand that there are currently a lot of people involved in the project, within the project itself. Even as I understand, not everyone has been assigned specific positions yet, but it's clear that a person should be there, right?
Look, yes, the project regarding positions and employees will develop in several stages. And the first stage, which we have already defined, will be called project management within the new company. It will not be a design bureau, as we mentioned before. The design bureau indeed implies a very large number of specialists. It does not form in just a week, a month, or even half a year. It takes a significantly longer time, but the project management team will be formed. It is already being established, and there are already specific names, such as Ivchenko, Zubkevich, Kemel, Kononenko, and others. They are not only part of the team, but they are also officially being hired by this company as full-time employees. Furthermore, we now have a separate and dedicated accountant in our new office. All administrative work related to staffing is managed efficiently and effectively in a systematic manner. This project management will function for the duration of approximately 1 year. The very first demonstrator is currently being built. Meanwhile, the same people will be integrated into the organizational structure of the design bureau, and they will already be forming a design bureau that will later be engaged in the development of a large device. Because there is already a completely different number of people, staff, and so on. The first stage is project management. In project management, there are conditionally 2 deputies. I was made the head of the project management department. They independently said, "Here, there will be 2 deputies in the persons of Zubkevich and Evchenko, and then leading specialists in their fields, analysts, dynamicists, designers, power plant experts, and ground energy specialists involved. The structure and overall direction probably include another 5 areas, with 2 to 3 leading specialists in each direction. Today, almost everyone from the project management team gathered. Some we saw in person for the first time, while others we have met before. Some brought documents for processing related to work. Today, everyone came together for an in-person meeting regarding the first design of the device. In this form and format, this management will exist for approximately about a year. Meanwhile, we will be establishing the design bureau.
Well, I mean, there are already key people in place. The organizational structure, at least the technical one, is clear, so there have been no difficulties here, and the work is already progressing at full speed, which is great.
So, what else is in the news? We have this program for stratospheric vehicles and launches that has been established. We completed it a couple of weeks ago and got it approved, it seems. Those who watch the webinars might remember the exact date. But this is to say what has been accomplished in the past 2 months, the development program for these stratospheric communications.
This is already separate from airships, just to confirm, right?
The aerostatic theme is taking small steps towards large stratospheric platforms. This is all part of one project, so nothing is separate.
I mean that these are not airships. We are talking about one vehicle. This is already a separate vehicle, not the airship that we approved at the Scientific and Technical Council.
Yes, in general, I think we will classify all aerostatic vehicles by altitude, because classic vehicles have a similar external appearance. It's unclear how other designs, gondolas, and control surfaces or possibly different lengths, will fit into this classification, but that is all understandable. But they are roughly the same as those that are near Earth at low altitudes. At medium altitudes, there will be different designs, different vehicles, and different speeds. Up there, it has an absolutely completely different appearance that is nothing like this vehicle. Other speeds, and in the end, there will be stratospheric ones. Yes, so we will divide everything by altitudes. For now, that's it. We are entering the stratosphere under the program that I mentioned earlier. This is the development of communications along the Northern Sea Route. This involves the launch of vehicles into the Northern Sea Route. It is primarily a scientific and technical experiment in its core essence and exploration, but if it is successful, and the likelihood of it being successful is quite high, this story may already. The commercial project itself could be the fastest commercially viable project overall. It is part of a larger project. Any news from the last 2 months? The laboratory is being established right here. The laboratory is significant. Even today, all met after the Scientific and Technical Council. A free discussion has begun. There were questions related to the fact that not only helium is vented from the vehicle, there is a need to purify the helium inside the airship, either within the vehicle itself or with the help of some external equipment, because something happens in there that makes it impure. This purification process is vital for the airship's operation. Helium, a lighter than air gas, must be kept pure to ensure optimal performance. Impurities can affect buoyancy and stability. Regular monitoring and purification are necessary. Following the Scientific and Technical Council, there were ideas discussing actively. We can either integrate it or not. Check now. We can't. We need more equipment. All is sent to the laboratory, behind this wall. It's organized. As soon as we tidy up the beauty there and finish the repairs, we'll show it off. So.
Is the equipment being purchased there, the first one already?
We currently have most of the necessary equipment because I have a laboratory together with Ruben that we are working on. Denis Boroda, whom you saw in the video in Kirsach, has his own laboratory. Artem has his own laboratory as well, and we have a bunch of equipment.
You will combine this here, right?
Yes, but something else will naturally be purchased as well. For the specialized ones, it is clear that they are tailored for specific tasks. But overall, yes, indeed. The laboratory is truly being brought together here, and the airship specialists liked our level of knowledge in science and technology, so we will be combining these efforts together.
Well, I know that equipment is being purchased not only for laboratories now.
Yes, indeed, several highly technologically sophisticated metal cutting machines were advanced right from the first deliveries. This is an advanced milling, 3-coordinate turning and erosion machine. After the advance payment, there are 40 days for their assembly, then 2 weeks for shipping, and they will arrive. This is necessary to equip the fleet in general. Here is Ruslan Arslanov. He has his own production facility, and today there were just some technologies from the production, which will be, well, I think the devices will be manufactured at their own production facilities. This production needs to be upgraded. Yes, it kind of falls under the project, in a similar way to how we transport all our laboratory equipment here. Ruslan is ready to fully dedicate himself and his business to the project. We will integrate it into the parent company. Obviously, there will be a merger of the company and so on. So, all Ruslans becomes part of the project's equipment. The necessary equipment needs to be included as well. We took large machines because they previously had a machine park, but it was limited to a certain size. Of course, this is also somewhat related to airships of different dimensions, all the small details and so on. In general, we ordered the equipment. More precisely, we made an advance payment. It's really cool that there is such an opportunity. The machines will arrive there soon. Overall, the main modeling and experimental. In general, the first vehicle will be experimental, and there will be a lot of iterations of various prototyping even before the assembly of the vehicle. We need to produce parts, roughly speaking, connect them together, then look at connecting assemblies with assemblies, and so on and so forth. Naturally, something will change. And constantly ordering. Someone else to produce this part will be 10 times more expensive than making it ourselves. So these machines will pay for themselves quickly, and if they are no longer needed, they can be sold later, which can also generate some profit. In other words, it will save us time and money. Although some might say, manufacture it in China, it will be cheaper. Maybe, it's not a fact, but it could be true that these parts are there. But you sent the drawing there, and 2 months later the part arrived, you tried it didn't fit, you threw it away, and now you have to wait another 2 months for the next part. But here, you can get several parts in a day. You can speed up the whole process. That's why production means are never superfluous. They are actually the coolest asset.
Which, as I understand it, creates assets within the company and also allows for the mastery of the technologies themselves.
Well, naturally, the greater the degree of localization, the cheaper the airship will ultimately be.
So it turns out that this equipment, you say, has already been advanced. By the way, I wanted to ask a question while you were speaking. Can we somehow see this? Maybe we will have to go to Ruslan to shoot something so that we often talk about Ruslan, and everyone asks what Ruslan is like. But Ruslan is not a public person. In general, we have a lot of people on the team, but when you approach them with a camera, they always find a reason to say they are going somewhere. So we are ready to shoot. Not all of them are willing to do it, but it might work out.
It will work out. It will definitely work out. They are all mentally getting used to it. It's just that, yes, it somehow turned out that I listened to all of this project just dove in, everything started right away and began to spin. Yes, people are still adapting a bit right now. We will definitely visit Rustam and show him everything. Overall, we are entering such an active phase. Finally, this chaos has settled down, and everything has been structured. Work and...
As far as I know, and with external contractors, as it was initially announced, the airship is a complex vehicle, and some parts and elements can be developed by specialized contractors. I understand that work with some of them has already begun in one way or another, correct?
Yes, it started specifically with the stratosphere. It did not begin with airships, but rather with stratospheric vehicles. We have engaged a large number of specialists from the Bauman Institute. Yes, indeed, they are very happy and absolutely excited, truly thrilled to be doing this, but they have generally aimed for it, and incredibly, they are thrilled to be part of this amazing opportunity.
But you won't mention any names yet, right? At this moment.
Why bother? Soon the videos will be released, and everyone will see everything and meet everyone.
But the main thing is that, yes, look, the contractors, it seems to me it's just the same in Russia. I just asked Fyodor today whether we will talk about this, because I understand that if people have an understanding of who we are working with, it will greatly enhance the project's authority. But, you see, Fyodor is also cautious here.
Yes, of course, careful. Now as they say, the first balloons will take off, and then everything will be a bit easier. Because you can say, look, we have Beamong doing it, we are doing it, my people are doing it, everyone is doing it, show it.
Well, yes, it's definitely better to show here than to tell.
So just a little more and we will show everything.
Fedor thinks that he still certainly wants to indeed say something. I definitely remind you that Fedor will leave and may not have time to announce how much the airship from Nova will cost. I asked Fyodor for a long time to voice it, and he also says, you know, we will say it now, but what if something doesn't add up later? Yes, the information may change, but still, I want you to understand the numbers. How many likes did you give? Yes, look, friends, I want to remind you that you need to like the posts in the Solar group on vContact. And here we have 176 likes, but we agreed on 200. And I think about it, but at the same time, I see a lot of likes on the YouTube live stream of Solar Group, 171 likes. In other words, it seems that people here also did not achieve their goal, reaching only up to 200.
Well, the price will still fluctuate. It's clear that at least the general ranges will be understandable. It's not particularly important, the main thing is that it flies. Shevchenko suggests, be quiet, be quiet.
He himself, by the way, doesn't know, I think, but he is very interested. You see, he somehow supports following the rules. Look, we can get 200 likes on YouTube, in principle. People here also watch a lot, people like it, they try, but we need to gather about 200. Now we will say this, and later they will say, you promised to say it at 200, but you said less. So, I'll find something to nitpick. For now, just keep liking.
or else Fedor will leave, and so will you. You will not recognize at first glance initially.
Very interesting work is indeed being done on engines in the direction of airships. I won't reveal at all what exactly is being done here, but overall, the situation with aviation engines in our country is quite poor. And there is a great desire to engage in the production of these engines. Moreover, there are all the possibilities, and even more so, the developments. In short, a lot of actions are being taken in that direction, and it's also thanks to Ruslan. If we manage to create our own aviation engine within a year, don't be surprised. Well, I will be surprised, but those who understand how complex this process is will be surprised too. Thinking about making an engine seems simple, but creating an aviation engine with around 200 kilowatts is already interesting.
Fedor, do you have all the news from 200?
What's new? These are the main things.
The main thing that has been done, if we summarize it like this, it turns out we just work on the project every day. And sometimes you forget that it was launched only 2 months ago, and before that it didn't really exist. Well, it didn't exist. At least not in the information space, right? Fedor has actually been working on this for 3 years now. Maybe even longer, right?
Well, you see, 3 years ago we met here, and it turns out I didn't even have a concept of an airship in my mind.
Yes, but the active funding phase is currently 2 months.
The active phase began when Sergey Semyonov created a chat and said, "Let's start the project." This marked the beginning of a very active phase. Before that, everything was completely unclear.
I was just active. I became very active.
It was just a phase.
Yes, and the work has been done. You really look back now and see that this work has been accomplished, and it's unclear how in just 2 months everything started so quickly. The project just took off, like bam, and everyone immediately got to work. Well, because yes, this had been accumulating for a long time. Everyone was ready, and everyone was saying, "So, what's the holdup?" Everything went smoothly as it should.
Yes, the good thing is that the entire engineering and technical team is somewhat cohesive. The only issue is that everyone was working on different jobs, and the discussions about airships were all within the framework of hobbies and evening conversations. And now everyone is being pulled away from their work so that they can free up their mental capacity and engage in this task. These were the main 2 months that were spent on this, and today, hallelujah, it really is like that. An event occurred where all of the project management was in attendance at the meeting, and from most of them, we collected their workbooks, and they said, "Finally, we are here, and ready to proceed." Yes, and so to speak, we managed to bring all the gears together in one clock mechanism in just 2 months. And this is the most important achievement of these 2 months.
Well, yes, I agree with that. Although before the project started, I, like some others, really thought that the difficulty of the airship was in making it. It turned out that making an airship is not a problem at all. You design it, develop it, and it flies. Well, it's all quite clear. But organizing the process itself, finding the money for it, and finding people capable of doing it who can calculate everything correctly is where the complexity lies. And this is precisely what I am also involved in.
Airships were made 100 years ago and 130 years ago, and they are being made in modern Russia as well.
So, well, look, we haven't reached 200 likes, either in the V-Contacted group or on YouTube yet, so...
So, would you give it a like?
I would, of course, put it, and what about me? In fact, there are 15 likes left. I think we can do it this way. Fedor, in any case, we will gradually move on to the questions here, and as soon as we have 200 likes, I will invite Fedor back. Right. And you will announce these numbers. Let's do it this way. We have already been on air for an hour and a half. I think we can wrap up the news part here and move on to the questions. And if there are 200 on YouTube and 200 on VContact,
Pasha will do a quick somersault off this table.
Let's do it this way. A joke for 300, a somersault for 500, dangerous for 200 likes. Well, that's it, Fedor. Thank you very much for that.
You see, you only need 23 likes.
Yes, just pay attention, friends. You should look at the likes, not on the wall, but you're looking there. This is a next-generation airship.
Oh, yes, indeed, certainly.
That is, pay attention and focus.
That's it, Solar Groove. Perhaps probably likes.
48, yes. Because look, this is how you should properly like something. You open the stream, and inside this stream, you need to figure out how to like it correctly.
But it's inconvenient to see the phone.
What is it?
No, indeed, you are the one setting the reaction.
Maybe there's a way to set this up in VK video, because I see likes on the wall of this video from my computer in the feed, and there is a video description, and there are also some likes there. These additional likes, and I don't know if they are duplicates or not.
All right, I'll go on the computer for a bit. I'll give it a like so you can do a somersault.
But 191 likes there'll be some now. Fedor, I'll invite you.
All right, I'm off for now.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. So it turns out we won't make a transition. Fedor got up and left. Well, that's fine. Friends, as we conclude our official news segment, I would like to say the following, dear friends. First of all, I sincerely want to thank you truly once again for continuing to invest and develop the projects that SOLARGROUP is working on. Projects for which we are organizing funding for various different types of important and essential projects. And of course, without you, without the investors, partners, and the community of people, this would all be meaningless and impossible. So this is all thanks to you, to private investors, to caring people who want innovative projects to emerge in the world, and even more so, to have this happen here, with us. This is also very important and currently relevant from all points of view. If we talk about the projects once again, it has basically been said enough today. One project is gradually and logically coming to an end, but at the same time, we still have the opportunity to jump on the last train and make investments under the terms of the 19th funding stage with available installments, including for small packages. As soon as we move to the final stage, the installments will only remain for 10 months and only for large packages. For small packages, installment plans will not be available at all. Moreover, once we move to the final stage, it will no longer be possible to restore your cancelled installments. So, if your installment plan has been cancelled, if you know such people, restore it now, because you won't have this opportunity again. Starting from 2025 and overall at the final stage, as Sergey Semyonov mentioned today, the project will move into a new phase. We all believe in this and hope for it. I mean the stage when, in principle, it may no longer need investments. The stage when it will, in principle, be able to sustain itself through its own income and even manage that income in favor of paying dividends to investors. So these dividends, probably for the year 2026, right? If we talk about the year 2025, we need to earn something first. But still, this is probably one of the most important years in the life of the share company Sova Umash, and a new milestone for it. And again, all of this was only possible thanks to you. If we take the project Next Generation Airships, notice how much has been accomplished. All of this has been done once again with the money of ordinary people who supported this company and thereby became co-owners of a Russian innovative company in the field of airship construction, as you heard today from Fedor. And not only, the same stratospheric devices have a vast number of potential applications. And this is indeed also an opportunity for commercialization. We will lift the airships into the sky. This company will undoubtedly and easily become an undisputed leader in the world in this field in the near future. Because it is a complex direction, one way or another, but we have a team, and most importantly, we have people ready to support it financially. Therefore, there are no doubts left for us. And remember that right now, while we have not yet reached the first stage of financing for the next generation airships, we are in the pre-launch phase, during which we are publicly preparing this project, together with you. You can invest under the best conditions. Today, the average discount is $1,000. This means that on average, for every dollar invested, you receive 1,000 shares. As soon as we move to the first stage of financing, the average discount will be 500.
This means that for $1 you will receive an average of 500 shares. That is, investing now is twice as profitable as under the conditions of the first stage. So you can decide for yourselves here. Yes, there may still be something unclear. Yes, there may be a need to delve into the airship theme. For some, this is completely new, but everyone can approach it as they wish. Some people thoroughly analyze and minimize risks before investing, while others get better conditions but take on maximum risk. Choose what suits you best, and invest in our projects that matter. Friends, I'm kind of wrapping up this final part, but I will still answer your questions. And look, there are only 3 likes left. 3 likes in the V-Contactor group, after which Fedor will return to us and tell how much the first airship from Nova will cost. Friends, just 3 people. I think we will find some... By the way, we have 189 likes on our broadcast in Solar Group on this YouTube channel. Like this post. While you are giving these 3 likes, I will say it again. Like it wherever you are watching from. Share it. Remember that it is up to you, your activity, to determine when the first airship will take to the skies. When Sovelmash is fully equipped with the necessary equipment and launches as a new enterprise. The more active you are, the more people watch these broadcasts, and the more investments come into our projects. It's all very simple here. Also, please note that there are links in the broadcast under the video. There are links at the bottom to our social media and to the Next Generation Airship project, as well as to the Duyunov's Motors project. Please visit these social media, subscribe, even if you are not planning to invest at the moment. Subscribe, for example, to the Telegram channel of the Next Generation Airship project. Follow the project. If you see that you like what is happening there, then at any moment you can make that choice using our convenient platform. I am sure that it is definitely at least fascinating. It is at least interesting to observe our projects. So, well, let's take a closer look and see what we have here with the likes. We have a total of 203 likes, my dear friends. I only have one question, right? So, these people were on the broadcast. They could press the like button, but it needs to be encouraged? Why, as if it were difficult. Although people themselves are participating in this project, it is beneficial and interesting for them. Yet they have to ask for likes from people through such blackmail for information. Well, Fedor hasn't gone far yet. Now they will call Fedor, and Fedor will say, I will tell you right away. I convinced Fedor for a long time. Why? Because there could be mistakes here. It will be my fault if Fedor mentions the wrong figure now. Because right now the first airship is in development, actively, but the overall budget may already be somewhat clear. So, Fedor, can you give an approximate idea of what these figures might be, what they might consist of, and how accurate is this forecast?
Well, do you perhaps want to hear the cost of the first airship?
Viewers, I've already heard something about it somewhere.
Well then, come on, tell me what you heard.
I don't want to. What if a version is not the latest?
Not the last one, but the last one still does not physically exist in reality. At this moment, there will be a significant cost, or rather, not just a considerable cost. In general, the amount of financial resources and effort that will be spent from the moment we started the extensive development process of this project until the moment of takeoff. And obtaining the certificate, like the first experimental device of this airship, will involve a certain sum of money. This includes the investment in the testing phases involved in this project from inception to completion. Several processes will be running in parallel. This will be related to development. Maybe we will start formalizing the land for construction. This will be related to the second device, which is more serious and larger. We do not include this money in that sum. We are considering all the actual costs that will be incurred for the launch of the first experimental device. We have even almost come up with a name for it. It will most likely be something new. Fraction 2. Not because it is the second, but because it will have an average volume of 2,000 cubic meters. The amount of expenses incurred for the development and lift of this airship will initially start from approximately $1.2 million for the project. Is that all? This includes salaries, office rentals, the purchase of various types of equipment, and everything else must be included, such as...
Well, roughly we are talking about 110, 120 million rubles. Not a billion, not $10 million. Not 15, as was written yesterday in the webinar.
This is production, well, this is from...
Yes, that is it. Why did Fedor not want to say this phrase? Because some might think, okay, 1.2 million, but what about 99 million? What do you plan to spend on? This lifts one device, but that's not the goal. We do not have the task of launching a standby kite.
Well, the project aims to create a parent company and establish serial production of devices, meaning it is about creating a chain of manufacturers, including our own tech lines, which will be able to produce them in series. This includes their certification, acquiring land, constructing a hangar, establishing a small-scale production of larger devices, more serious ones, like 10-ton airships, creating a training center, and forming an operating company, a construction company that will build these hangars. In general, there is so much to do, but the cost of the device is from 1.2 to probably 2. For now, let's leave such a delta, and we will clarify it later. This is precisely the cost price with all expenses for the first experimental device. It is evident that obviously in the upcoming series it will be much cheaper, but that's all we...
It will be cheaper in the series, right?
Yes. There is actually an idea. We are again having discussions about the same thing at today's NTS. On one hand, I want to create a Kalashnikov, but I don't want to end up creating a Zhiguli slightly. So let's think about it this way. We want it to be functional, reliable, inexpensive of course, comfortable, safe, modern, and so on, and efficient, and affordable, and user-friendly.
A balance is needed. There is no goal to create. A golden airship that is unclear in its purpose, but making it super cheap just for the sake of being cheaper is not an objective either.
Yes, and that's why we have been taking so long. Well, it's not actually long. It's all quite efficient, but for me and you, it may seem like we are really gathering our thoughts about what this device will be, because we need to find the perfect balance where it will be modern, functional, commercially applicable. But on the other hand, we don't want it to turn out like a Zhiguli, because lifting an airship into the air is something that was accomplished 130 years ago. Yes, we have a slightly different task. We still need to establish a transportation system based on airships. However, the transportation system has slightly different criteria. This is not some golden airship, nor is it some cheap airship. It does require a bit more depth in addressing the task, and one has to dive deeper. Well, the first figure has been announced. This is approximately how much the experimental sample will cost. We will most likely build about 5 experimental samples. It is clear that there will be various modifications, improvements, upgrades, and so on. So you can safely multiply the figure by 5. This amount will go towards crystallization of that very serial sample plus the setup of that very serial production.
Let us briefly revisit. Why is this being done? Why do we need these 5 test models? Why is this necessary? To refine the technology, right?
Yes, to certify the device the same way, to obtain a type certificate for it in order to produce it serially and specifically sell it. But in order to commercially operate it, today I saw a question about whether a type certificate is needed for commercial operation. In fact, individual certificates for each product are sufficient. They can already be used in various applications, in straightforward and uncomplicated terms. Yes, but if we want to do this all super officially, so that these airships can be put up for sale and so on, we will still be asked for some kind of certificate, considering that it will be optionally piloted, and it will indeed be optionally piloted. That is, there will be several modifications. There will be unmanned, optionally, and conventionally manned versions. For unmanned vehicles, we have a drone zone on the side, like Tomsk and its surrounding areas, where you can fly in a relaxed and leisurely manner over Tomsk. However, you can't fly as peacefully over other regions. All these administrative and technical issues are currently in the process of being formed. As soon as everything is finalized and settled, we will prepare a large report document, go out, and share everything, showing it all. There won't be any such deletions or uncertainties there, but for now, yes.
We are waiting for the conference then, I hope. It seems like you already mentioned that something will happen.
Yes. By the time our conference takes place, we will already be engaged in intensive work on creating the preliminary design, which means that all these tactical and technical requirements will have been finalized. The technical proposal with the engineering note justifying it will have been approved, and there will be that unique appearance of the device and that singular preliminary design based on which its development will begin. Therefore, at the conference, I will operate with precise figures and solid concepts.
Well, great. I am sure that at the conference on November 16th, we will have a lot to show you, including regarding the project of the movers. So friends, be sure to come, it will be interesting. Thank you very much, Fedor, for coming back to our studio. And to you, viewers, thank you very much for giving enough likes. Everything was, as they say, not in vain.
We stood there for a while behind Sergey Shevchenko's cameras, looked at the phone, and we still couldn't understand where that number of 200 likes came from. It seems to exist only on your computer.
Only on my computer specifically. This is when you initially enter the broadcast from the computer at the beginning. Yes, I already understood. But I think that if people put it on the wall, it will most likely. On wall 60. Yes, on wall 60. Friends, I'm not looking at these 60, just so you know. I really don't understand where to look at this from my phone.
Alright, forget about those likes.
The VK video can be seen somehow through this application. That's it. I will answer the questions. Fedor, if there are any questions about the airship, maybe you can answer them too.
Pavel, you were recorded as part of the Scientific and Technical Council today, so please try to act accordingly.
I agree. I was really present today. Well, let's say, if I say something, then it will stay here. So, that's it then, right? You can go. Thank you very much. Well, that's it, friends, for sure. Indeed, our webinar definitely turned out to be a little bit longer than we planned. But just look at how many good news we have. Thank you very much for your activity. I have already talked about the stages, the news, the SOLARGROUP, and the dirigibles. We discussed everything. So that's it. We are just officially concluding the official part. But I still feel the need to answer your questions. So you can write your questions, and I will take a look right now. I will be carefully and meticulously looking at the questions on the SOLARGROUP channel on VK. On the YouTube platform, I will explore and discuss various questions, providing insights and answers to enhance understanding. So, if you don't want to watch the questions, this is usually a secondary blog, and the webinar has been going on for almost 2 hours. You can feel free to leave, and I will move on to the questions. Thank you very much for watching the news segment until the end. We will dedicate about 15 minutes to questions now, so that it doesn't go too far beyond 2 hours. We have less than 2 hours of broadcast, and we were delayed by about 15 minutes. By the way, I apologize for that as well. We had some minor technical issues. I am currently focusing on reviewing and analyzing the questions that have been posted on the YouTube platform first. There will be no more information on the main project. Of course, there will be indeed. We spent much time on him. We covered it in detail. I also mentioned why Alexander Sudarev is absent, even though he was included in the announcement. Silence mode. This is a very important stage. Sovelmash. The ZOS is in full swing. And Dmitry Alexandrovich gave such an order that for now there is a silence regime. And that is why we shared the news with you ourselves today. But Sergey Shevchenko shared sufficient interesting information, and I added something in detail. It was enough information.
Observing the dirigibles, a person writes, "My prediction is that they won't take off. So, I suggest you come to the conference. I am personally ready to bet with you for some amount of money." I assure you that anyone, whether from the Solar Group team or the Novi team, will definitely be ready to bet they will take off. We will need to figure out how to collect money from you later, because, we know people like that. You write to us, and then when it comes time to settle things, you won't be around to argue. So, I am sure they will take off. Time puts everything in its place, right? We'll meet in a year. Thus, combining the webinar for 2 projects at the same time is a special marketing move. Friends, as we mentioned, Solar Group is now a full-fledged investment platform. We have several projects, and this webinar is not for some separate project. It is a webinar for Solar Group. But what is Solar Group without its investment projects? Just a website on the internet. So of course, when we talk about Solar Group, we talk about our projects. And today we discussed one project, then another. So we certainly have webinars dedicated to each project. For example, tomorrow, there probably won't be any expert time, for obvious reasons that we mentioned today. By the way, I don't know if we will have a news webinar on the airships tomorrow as well. Today, we revealed so much information for you that I'm not sure if it's necessary. But in general, we have separate webinars, twice a week on both Duyunov's engines and airships. There is a newcomer presentation and news webinar. Feel free to ask us questions in person. We answer all. Here is a person writing that he needs a translator into English. Here I will say right away, I already mentioned that Solar Group is also constantly changing for the better. And you might have noticed, see it, amazed. We are currently translating all our videos using a neural network. And this is definitely not just some free service on the internet where we upload videos. With the help of our specialists, we have experts in the field of artificial intelligence in the company who are working on this issue. We have managed to train a neural network and even create a chain of neural networks that, let's say, process video through this chain, including a GPT chat that corrects the translation. A number of other programs are also involved, but I won't mention them because they are also almost intellectual property, you could say. As a result, we have a translated video where, for example, I, Pavel Filippov, speak fluently in English, Hindi, or French. Check it out. It's all available online on our foreign YouTube channels. It's amazing. There are ideas from Duyunov about speaking in Hindi or Vietnamese. It's quite interesting. This is not something that seems like it was done with a translator. It is much more technological and, as our partners say, is translated correctly. What am I getting at? I'm saying that this webinar will also be translated using neural networks. So, if you are watching us in English, in French, and not understanding anything yet, I send my greetings to you, our esteemed investors from Africa, from Vietnam, from India, from Europe, from Latin America. Ah, yes. I greet you. I know that you are watching this right now, and thank you very much. Let's also say a big thank you to the neural network and our specialists in the field of neural networks for translating these webinars for you. And now this webinar will be broadcast in dozens of languages. People from all corners of the world will see this transmission. Such are the modern technologies. So, well, when is the funding closing? Well, look, the amounts that Dmitry Alexandrovich indeed needed for the implementation of the project by the end of the year were announced to him. That is, the necessary equipment should be purchased with this money, and yes, there will be some changes made to address the comments from the Commission that cannot be avoided. Money will also be spent. Some funds are required for the maintenance of the building. This is all in place. But, as Sergey Semyonov also mentioned today, the year 2025 should change this situation. And of course, financing can only be completed when Suvelmash starts earning its first profit and begins to receive its own funds, because without incoming funds today, SOLARGROUP clearly cannot operate, as salaries need to be paid to people and staff is being hired. It is necessary to cover just the basic utility payments and other expenses. But at the same time, there is of course a big difference here. Yes, these working capital can easily reach deficits. It will not be necessary to sell investment packages for this. But we are forced to transition from the 19th stage to the final one, which will have quite strict conditions, as we have discussed, and for a certain number of months, we will provide the opportunity to acquire new investment packages under the conditions of the final stage. Because we cannot put the project at risk right now. But agree, it would be foolish to finance a project for 6-7 years, and then underfund it for 2 to 3 months until the first working capital from orders comes in. And can you imagine? Tomorrow? Well, 10 million won't be enough for something. Well, that's funny. Therefore, there is such an agreement, there is such a goal, that yes, we will continue to sell investment packages for some time at the final stage. But I hope that we will be able to quickly move away from this. And after that, we will indeed open the internal exchange. But people will still have to pay for the delays, yes, because they have taken on these obligations, but new packages will no longer be sold. I hope this is clear. It's difficult. I feel I've talked about this before, but in general, I constantly answer this question one way or another, as it is often asked.
Many are asking, a few people, I am just seeing a link to what seems to be a foreign broadcast here. I just said that we will initially first translate this broadcast using a neural network, and subsequently we will release it as a recording but on foreign channels. There will be a specific date and time. People will feel like it is a live broadcast, but this is not a deception. It is essentially a live broadcast, because this video will be launched as a live broadcast. It is simply clear that the webinar itself took place a little earlier, but I think it will be quite effective. It is much more effective than doing it with a simultaneous interpreter. How many shares are left in the various installments that have been set up? Recently, I received this important piece of information, which is crucial for understanding the current financial status. I will make an effort to quickly and efficiently find this information for you. Currently, approximately 6,623,000,000 is reserved in installments. This is the current status. I think there were approximately 5 or even 7 or so, but there aren't 50 as some have written. It's about that number. So, let's proceed forward a bit. I'm looking at the questions on YouTube. The solar group consists of the sun, planets, moons, asteroids, and comets, all held together by gravity. Vitaly writes that if the airships do not take off, they can certainly be used as a decent means of flotation, as Vitaly suggests. Well, I absolutely, definitely, indeed really like the mood of the investors in the chats today. Or the explosion of a package of such an incredibly massive and enormous volume that is almost unbelievable. And Vadim writes, thank you friends for writing this. What do I like about our next generation airship project? It leaves no one indifferent. That is its great advantage. When will the number of shares in the promotion be known? Well, look, once again, we know the number of shares. At the moment, we have sold 55 billion shares, or rather 54,921. I was just saying, they sent me the numbers recently, and it's about 6.5 billion in installments. This amount will not significantly increase anymore, as Sergey Shevchenko mentioned, including that the 19th stage of investments is coming, but there won't be many new shares. The discount is low, and at the 20th stage it will be even lower. So I think those values will not remain with us. The number of shares will depend on convenience. We also talked about this, that it is not the number of shares that is important, but indeed how much your share package will cost. Here, Dmitry Alexandrovich said that we will simply rely on common sense in this matter. So, will there be a tool for selling shares within the Solar Group or not? When, please tell, the truth, whatever it is. This depends on what decision needs to be made to perhaps extend the installment. I don't quite understand the question, Sergey. Are you asking The tool for selling shares. The tool for selling shares. Well, you say, look again, what to do with your shares. I think once again, you can participate in the internal exchange. Will this be a tool? There's an internal exchange tool and you can use it to purchase additional shares or to list your shares for sale. We talked about it today as well. The internal exchange is in effect. Will you be able to exchange your shares for stocks? Such an opportunity is already available to you now. If you are from Russia, I think you can write in Russian. It's quite possible. Well, other countries are also available, many of them, but it is available for Russia. It is possible to exchange for shares. Also, shares can be sold. So here, yes, everything we are talking about remains unchanged. Let's read the questions more quickly. There are a lot of questions. Thank you very much for that. For some of the questions today, I think we won't be able to answer. Otherwise, the webinar will last 4 hours. I can, but I'm actually specifically told, Pavel, let's not do long webinars. People really don't like that. I try to shorten them. Here, they are actually writing about why my ears are red, because I understand that Sergey Semyonov will scold me for the webinar being too long. So... When you close the option to restore installments of all terms, Ilya, there will be no possibility to restore your installments at the final stage. Therefore, if you want to restore the installment plan, take advantage of this opportunity at the 19th stage. This opportunity will not be available with the transition to the final stage. The transition to the final stage is linked to the ZOS procedure, which is already underway with an increase, so this could also happen quite quickly. If I have an installment plan of $10,000 for 30 months, Solmash, after a few months the discount will increase by 40% if I don't manage to pay off the package early. That's not what I'm talking about. If you took an installment plan, you pay it, and the terms will never change. The discount will be preserved. That's the point of the installment plan. Otherwise, why would you take it? But those people who do not invest now, and for example invest in January or February, will take shares, but they will be 40% more expensive for them as the discount will increase. This is about those investors who will be purchasing for the first time or not for the first time, as they might acquire another investment package, not now, but in January, February. So, about regarding percentages, payment and verification. What is the point of taking these percentages for the systems? Is this an attempt to rip off the investors? It is unclear why money is needed for the solar group. Pay more percentages if already additional... Yes, we talked about this a little bit more in detail here. It's very simple. Either the project pays, either the investor pays these commissions. Commissions are as fair as possible. If the investors vote exactly for what you... There you pay, we will pay. What to do perhaps. You just simply have to indeed understand that if the project spends money on commissions, is spending more and more on these commissions, the money is not spent on projects. Just yes, most definitely there is a way to proceed here. In any way, we are simply here for you. We identify this problem and bring it to public, as they say now. Yes, in public discussion, because the project is public and we are all right here together with you right now. We do certainly indeed. So when exactly will the quantity be known? They await a share flip, not 500 yet. Likes. And what exactly is the return from the sale of one such airship approximately in terms of profit in monetary terms? The airship, well, indeed, Fedor has left, but I will say this. What Fedor talked about in the presentations. What is happening in the airship world? Well, how are you? You understand few companies can make the airship indeed, therefore the price it is taken from the air. Come on, you can make a frog. Come on, how much money can you manage? Only take from the client and he will definitely pay. The price for airships is the most diverse airships, sold for approximately 500 million rubles there for $5 million. Yes, that's the average price. The airship again? Yes, they are already starting to compare with the airplane. Yes, that's it. My 8 costs 18 million. How much is the airship of 2 tons? Sell it for 15 or perhaps maybe for 13. How is RGU doing? Yes, though cost prices. Well, it's several times less clear. Yes, here. The question here is exactly how you will sell the product, and effectively, it is very high margin for us, is in framework of the project. Make the product slightly less profitable, but to make it mass produced, we need to do this. We can do it, being honest with you. This transport's low cost surprises many. In the airship world, there is an unspoken understanding that $1 million for each. How about a cubic meter? Yes, perhaps, accordingly. This is how the price is currently set. So how much are we going to sell it for? Well, probably cheaper than competitors or vice versa. We will not simply compete on price. Just do better. Good question, I simply indeed. I think we will definitely solve this already with the final device. Yes, when at least the appearance will be finalized today as well. This is indeed true. They talked about intercity and futuristic flying buses. Here's what's interesting about the villages too. Flew quickly, and city with beautiful and vibrant landscape, and bustling and lively. The airport is currently serving people. They don't remember. They are left. Someone uses them for personal purposes. But there were people everywhere flying on. Small airplanes between cities, because Russia is very large. The Soviet Union was undoubtedly even larger, and there will be no high-speed railways in Russia at this time. The cost of airplanes a country will be able to. You understand this, therefore here, it is critically important that there is, for instance, that the idea of small aviation is undoubtedly also present here. It's clear, and now it is not there, and Russia is. It suffers greatly with such territories, so there are currently a lot of people often come to us and say there's an airfield. Let's go. Let's restore it right over there. Contacts fly airship. Airships are there, and this is really a way out. I can tell you as a person who I recently just flew on an airship in Germany in the city of Friedrichshain there from the company Zeppelin. Yes, this company. These airships are operating for tourism. Honestly, when I flew on it, this is what it was like. The first thing I thought was how great it would be for such a thing to fly simply between Moscow. How many people go home on weekends? Somewhere to Ryazan, to Tver, and they are working. Moscow, the road is hard. Many are around Moscow. You just took a piece based on their airports, organized what you might call a parking lot. Airships, and these airships are flying in. Ryazan is taking a person, and here it is. They bring it as the airship has nothing. He needs to fly in vertically, take off. As soon as I am on such an airship, I flew myself, and I hope that it will just work out to do something very important. And how many can be produced per year? To implement airships, that's all. It depends on capacities you have. Yes, there is in the ongoing project. It is planned to build 2 hangars. Each will have a throughput ability. If I'm not mistaken, then here it is. The airship there is up to 2 tons. The load capacity is 10 to 20 units per year. Cargo of 10 tons. Somewhere around 20-30 units year. That is 2 hangars, something like this. I have many questions and indeed friends. I respond to the very most interesting ones. I try not to answer narrow questions generally, because we simply don't have enough time for the broadcast. It turns out as it was expected. Long, so I look at it for a significantly longer period of time. In V Contacte, the question is on the main broadcast. How many likes are here already? Interesting, friends. Don't forget again, like on all social networks wherever you are. Look down below in the description of the broadcast. Subscribe to the social network, links below. Our projects, that is their Telegram. YouTube supports tech, stay updated. Invest in the financial markets and opportunities available. So maybe perhaps some questions like, here people are indeed surprised that the project airships is 2 months old. Yes, certainly, so much truly in such a short time. Made from where like discount 1,000, discount 850. Well, it's an average of 1,000 if you count it. Average discount 1,000 on, let's say, average packages that is not on average. The maximum, not the minimum discount is exactly, indeed, precisely, certainly. Approximately when will the first stage supported this talk to Sergey? Today there was a lot of talk about what is happening now. Conceptually, in essence, we plan to close the pre-launch stage as soon as there is $1 million of attracted investments. Now $750,000, that is, it remains like right over there. We have a scientific council and work is ongoing. Continues, so something may happen. Change to tone and the pre-launch stage here. The pre-launch stage is the project we... St. Petersburg takes a commission from Sora. Andrei politely inquires about more details regarding the situation with De Beer. What share does Vitaly have here exactly as well? Sog will own approximately 49% of the company. No, as he owns 49% of MASH, but it's not quite here. Correctly says that the agreement is owned because this is precisely the share of the investors. Yes, this is the share that will go to the investors. Sergey Shevchenko is sitting right here with us at this moment. The main fighter against haters here are the haters. Again, a person writes that SOLARGROUP takes additional funds from the allocated budget from the project. Well, it's very good that he is writing because... Can you tell me how it is right now? In fact, honestly, I just have this feeling. Any thoughts on the group's actions? Uh, 50% of the investments are with the people. There is a feeling that there is some kind of evil group. Who are they? Just some mysterious abstract evil entity that sits right on the oil. Some kind of corrupt person is sitting on the oil pipe, actually does nothing, and here it is. The money is flowing, and she just came like that, 100 rubles, and here's a SOLARGROUP, literally, actually right there in your pocket. Well, I don't really know, it's just actually even funny. This is absolutely unclear to comment on at all. This thought that someone is actually taking something, no matter how many percent at least, 1, 2, or 3, just like that. The feeling that a person wants to say screw, the thief somehow incredibly cleverly steals money. How much are we spending on the partnership activity? And here probably is where we need to start. When the project price was announced, immediately announced with a margin for marketing, it was immediately stated that this is the amount with, considering that this project is absolutely necessary. Cannot sell products in modern and competitive markets, in the world of capitalism without investing anything in it. In advertising, this is how it works. Sadly, I buy here, it's iPhone X2, it's sold, has cost 500, sold 1,000. Apple spent 750, 250 production. That $250 there, well, conditionally, the company, Apple spent significantly on advertising so that I wanted this phone. And it's like that for everyone. Obviously, well, that is, well, yes, $500. The cost price is $250. So the advertising total is $250 for $1,000. Well, here's Apple earning this. Her margin is undoubtedly correct, and this applies to anyone, without exception. The product, but when we say that, we indeed what? SOLARGROUP has some expenses on marketing. It carries everything like that, so it takes it for itself. Then, the most interesting thing is, these people who say that they are indeed taking away, they themselves come to the conference. They talk, but they themselves are indeed. The partners take them, just how. There is a funny picture like in Where is Spider-Man on the internet? They really do show such a friend to you. You take the money from the project, right? How about now? Wrong. All people are partners. Most investors are with us. In my opinion, 80% of the investors are all partners. 80% promote the project by talking about it. They give advertising to their friends and pay for it. Money to bloggers. Why do they do it? They are so kind, they want to... The project was promoted, but they want in that, including earning from partnership. This program is indeed a fair deal. They promote the project, the company pays rewards, and as a result, more than 40%. And then these people come. What's the SGP take for itself? It's you taking it. You're the one giving the ad, and you receive a referral, reward, well, I mean, some kind of... It turns out to be just a bit absurd. But what about the numbers? Everyone knows they exist. In this contract, no one really knows, right? You see, perhaps, maybe, I guess, I will make a mistake even now. There are 40, how many? 47 or 49? More than 40, yes? Well, more than 40% goes to referrals. Yes, this is completely not hidden information. This is not from the group. There are people, there are partners who take for themselves that, as everyone literally says, there is half of it. And from every 100 rubles, yes, here it is. You are right. That is the question. Formulations, that is, such as from the money that a partner in the project, considerably attracted by their work, gave advertising. Yes, I paid the blogger. I don't know. He went on foot and told someone about it. His work received a little more money and someone to him says, well, you actually took it for yourself. Well, he just did the work for 100 rubles. The project attracted significant dollars. Well, as a good person, he is absolutely very good. But he also wants to earn money, which is actually bad because, like many people do business and live only for this. Income, and thanks in part to such additional income, and the project is currently developing and actively being promoted to people. Here it is, yes. These people earn money, while someone else does not. Well, indeed, there are partners, these 40% are given to them, actually. And where do they go there, or there are some, percentage? Well, yes, certainly, people need something to eat, You need to live somewhere, so no matter what people... They were dedicated the project, they will not be able work for free people, designers, and other creative professionals, IT specialists. I know here are the guys who... Today they are conducting this webinar. They might have wanted to, but they have families, and they will come home and say, I did this free. I'm doing something, and wife says, how about, what will we pay the mortgage with there? Well, that's all. These things are trivial. That's how it works. So, as we know, of course, it is necessary to develop personal social networks. The office conducts conferences, yes, as well. To invite there even conditionally, we invite Andrei Lobo to the conference. He came, but still we need him there. The technique needs brought. To order a tow truck. That is, there are also such expenses, but done for. In order to simply for marketing, yes, in that. Including, of course, there is money for this. And I surprise this causes someone questions all the more in light of the fact that this was everything. And it was agreed upon on the side. This is not... There was some kind of trickery on the part of SOLARGROUP, which turns out means, here it is. Referral? I don't know. Have thoughts? It's strange. It fits. Well, therefore, yes. Therefore, when the question of the commission arises, yes, indeed, of course, undoubtedly, for this is an important question for everyone. As we are now... It is said in general, as it is often remarked and noted. Well, I forgot there is some kind of saying. Well, in general, what is closer to you is always there, that what naturally a person thinks, accue yourself, and you are asked, maybe say you'll be the commission yourself. Of course, many will say, go pay. I will not pay the commission. You pay it. We only state the fact that if money for the project, it will be possible to proceed. Of course, it's not less than 20 or 30% there. It's clear that these are some percentages, but at large volumes, this amount is still the same. Substantial that could be save money and even let them pay for it. Several webinars that we will conduct. It will absolutely also be useful for you, the viewers. So again, therefore, in conclusion, we bring to public discourse. Yes, most assuredly, let's say it this way. A public discussion to discuss all of this with you. We discuss as if we are for honesty, integrity, transparency, and sincerity. For in our discussions, such an approach, so we are just definitely telling yes, the task is to share a little more detail about how it proceeds and continues to evolve. So friends, as you are aware, we have many things to discuss. The platforms look at all the questions. Today I won't respond to some, I guess we will stop here today, finish approximately 300 on, I hope. But no 213 or so, or thereabouts. Do you see exactly how... Just imagine if people don't like it at all, really, truly, honestly speaking. They can install it for free, can't they? People absolutely invest in this project for free. That's why there is also a referral system. Program K is currently running. Unfortunately, money and a kind word are more beneficial as well. Works more than just good indeed. The word comment is on this topic. The group takes half.
People should pay on V-Contact themselves, independently, or even the project from the company's budget, well, and carefully allocate necessary resources to ensure successful completion.
Where is it written again? Exactly, perhaps, maybe, possibly, and you. V-Contacte, the very popular social network platform, so who else is going to pay? Must definitely, indeed, absolutely. I understand that, well, you know. The contrary, the commission should be paid by the people or the project from the company's budget in who invests but not as himself or as an individual. That is, in reality, on the contrary, it means, here, it seems like I shouldn't, perhaps, maybe, just possibly, well, the question is, as you might already be aware, well, you see, opinions vary. But, as we can all agree, opinions do vary. Let's see what it shows. Voting, that's why we will be in the process of ensuring that, in general, we will discuss this. Thank you very much indeed, friends. I will certainly continue. I am absolutely very glad that you watched it to the end. Please kindly like and share, and support us by sharing and spreading the word. Follow us on our social media, especially if you are not familiar with our new project of new airships. All the links are in the description here. Telegram broadcasts, V-Contacte, and others. Social media follow the project, and I am sure he will not disappoint you. Remember that we will soon transition to... The final stage for us is the transition to the first stage, and if you want to invest in our projects are most beneficial for you. There really isn't absolutely very much time left. Thank you very much indeed, and we truly appreciate your presence and support, and we genuinely look forward to seeing you again very soon. Music, softly and gently playing melodiously and harmoniously in the background.